Okay, so let's get started with our yoga class today. A lot of deep stretches that we're going to hold, and we'll do some flows to kind of keep ourselves loose and everything while we're going through that. With that being said, we'll start and end our class the exact same way, which is in relaxation pose. So let's take ourselves down to the mat. We'll lay in Shavasana. Remember, Shavasana is loosely translated into corpse pose. We want to lay as still as possible, preferably with our arms out straight and our palms facing up towards the ceiling. Our legs can be straight. We can let our feet kind of fall out to the side a bit. If you feel like you're fidgety, just go ahead and get those fidgets out. If we feel like we're kind of twisted or tilted in any way through our neck and shoulders, working through that until we can keep the flat base of our head on the floor with our nose pointing straight up to the ceiling. It's a good idea just to check through our alignment and see if we're twisted or tilted. And then if you notice that you're feeling quite fidgety or you're moving, you're thinking, you can't get comfortable, see if there's something we can use as an anchor today during our practice. Maybe that's your breathing. I find that really works for me, right? We've talked about this a lot, that we think about our inhale, how it feels coming through the nose, into our chest, our abdominal area. And then we think about our exhale, how that feels as we breathe out. If your breath isn't working for an anchor today and you find that you're still just thinking about 1,000 different things, maybe you can take your hands onto your heart and onto your belly, and then you can feel your stomach rise and fall with your breathing, and you can feel your heart beating. You can feel your fingers touching your skin or your shirt. Sometimes that's enough for people too, to just think back to what we're doing and less about what else is going on. We'll stay here for another moment. Now, with our next inhale, I'm going to ask us to take a big stretch over our head, reaching those arms all the way up long. Maybe taking bigger, deeper stretches now, or bigger, deeper breaths, depending on what we need. Really opening up through the ribs, maybe letting the back peel up off the ground. Maybe we reach to the right a little bit farther, and then we reach to the left. And now I want us to release those arms, gather our legs into our chest, give ourselves a huge hug, and go ahead and start rocking right to left. Kneading out those backs. I love knees to chest. It's like a little massage. We'll keep a hold of those knees and then start to roll through our ankles. And then right away, we're going to rock and roll ourselves all the way up to sitting. You can come over onto your side too if you'd prefer, and then get onto our hands and knees so that we can find tabletop position. Now let's pull the bellies in, make sure the shoulders are strong, and keep our necks long. Taking our right arm forward, thumb to the ceiling for spinal balance, we reach our left foot back and lower down. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. Inhale, left. Exhale, really nice. Let's do one more each side. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale. Now we find tabletop and we work through our cats and cows. Inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, tuck that tailbone, round the back. Oh, it feels so good on the shoulders. Inhale, open, really lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, round the back, pull those bellies in. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. And we'll do one more of those. Inhale, open. And exhale, round up nice and high. Coming back into tabletop. Getting ready for thread the needle. We'll bring that right arm all the way up high, threading underneath that left shoulder. And we can reach that left arm forward, or if anyone needs just a little bit more today, you could try reaching that left arm high to the ceiling too. Breathe into your right shoulder. And then slowly come all the way up to table. And we'll do that on the other side. Make sure we feel good in tabletop position. Take that left arm, big inhale, reach. Exhale, sweep it underneath, threading the needle. And as we lay into that left shoulder, we can reach the right arm forward, or we can reach it all the way up to the ceiling. Now slowly we'll come through tabletop position, and then we reach back into child's pose. So go ahead and sit back all the way onto your hips, reach those arms forward and relax the head. Coming into our modified flow series now, make sure your hands are flat on the floor. Let's inhale forward into kneeling plank. Exhale, hover, elbows trying to brush the rib cage. Inhale, press straight up into kneeling plank. Exhale, push back into child's pose. I'll turn to the side if you need to see that. So we inhale forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, hover, baby crocodile. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back. 2 more times. Inhale forward. Exhale, lower. Really controlled here. Inhale, push straight up. Exhale, push back. Last time. Inhale forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press. And exhale, relax back, holding your child's pose. Now we'll come up into tabletop position again. I'll face forward. At this point, I want us to take our right leg out to the side. So some of us might be feeling a stretch already through the inside of our right leg. We're going to just press our weight back a little bit, stretching in this modified half frog. So it's also just a single leg groin stretch. We're working through the inner thigh. I like to keep my arms straight, but if anyone wants to come down onto your elbows, you can do that. Remember, we're still warming up. So we're still experimenting. We're still investigating. Now let's keep our legs where they are, but rise up higher. Notice how my right foot is flat on the floor. See if you can do that, keeping your toes pointing forward. I've also curled my back toes, using that to hold my foot out. So right on the ball of my left foot. Now, if we can, let's walk our hands up. See if we can do that today. Walk your hands up and keep them out to the side, making a T with your body. Take your right hand and flip it so our knuckles are coming onto the leg. And now reach that left arm up to the ceiling, a nice straight line. See how I'm drawing a straight line from my left knee all the way up to my arm? Let's see if we can do that. Feeling a really good stretch through the body today in our gate pose. Like a fence, you're opening the gate. Amazing. Inhaling, find that T. Now slowly bring our hands back down. Wiggle that right leg back into place, and we're going to repeat that with the left. Send the left foot out. Foot is flat on the floor if you can get it there. You can curl those right toes and then sit back. Little stretch. Now this one, a lot of people feel intensely. You feel it a lot. So I want you to breathe in to the inside of that left leg. Slow your breathing. Maybe come down onto your elbows if you need to. As I mentioned, we're still in the process of investigating, warming up. So maybe we stay up a little bit higher at this point. All right, we'll slowly rise up. Make sure that foot is flat, so you can point the foot forward. And then we'll walk our hands up, only if you can. Working on staying right on top of that right knee. Arms come out, make a T. Okay, flip our left hand up, draw the knuckles to the left leg, flip the right hand and reach. Keep pushing this hip so we're drawing a straight line. That's part of our spatial awareness that we work on in yoga. Always know where your arms and legs are and the lines that you're making with your body. It's a really good skill to practice. I'm feeling so much stretch at that right side. Very good. Inhale, lift up, make that T. Slowly work your hands down, and we're going to come back into child's pose. Sit the hips all the way back, as low as I'll go today, and then rest the head. Couple big breaths. Now I have socks on, so I'm going to just sweep my socks off real quick, because I know that as we come up into downward facing dog, I want more grip on my mat. So as we come into down dog, let's curl the toes, lift the hips up nice and high, press away from all 10 fingers, and start pedaling through those feet. So right to left foot, you can pedal, pedal, pedal. Notice how that feels. And then I want you to pedal your feet all the way in. So now start walking the dog, coming up halfway into monkey pose. Backs are so flat, hands are pressing against the shins or the thighs. Pull the bellies in, make sure your nose is pointing to the floor. So we're not looking back at our belly buttons, we're looking at the ground with long necks. Let's shift our weight into our heels, coming into chair pose. Sit back to your hips, reach those arms forward, sit nice and low. Pull the bellies in, wiggle your toes. Very good. Big inhale, lift up nice and tall. And exhale, relax. Oh, amazing. Go ahead and roll through the shoulders, the ankles. Grab a quick drink if you'd like one. We're going to continue warming our body up a little bit with our sun salutation. We'll go through our sun salutation a couple of times, starting in mountain pose. Feet are hips width distance apart. Make sure you're feeling all 10 toes on the ground, both inside and outside edges of your heels. And then really lift up, roll those shoulders down, soft knees, bellies in. All right, holding mountain pose, also known as Tadasana. Let's inhale, hands all the way up above head to prayer. Exhale, swan dive, hinging from your hips down into forward fold. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping back into plank pose, you can stop in tabletop if that's better, and then press back into down dog or child. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, that slow lower. Remember, you can do that from your knees. Inhale, scoop up into cobra, our first cobra stretch. Exhale, press back into down dog or child. And we can walk our feet and hands together at the top of our mat, coming up halfway into monkey. Pull those shoulders together. Softening our knees. Inhale, lift all the way up, reverse swan dive. Exhale, sweep, sitting back into chair. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift up tall. Exhale, swan dive, hinging from our hips all the way down into forward fold. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into plank. Exhale, press back into downward dog or child's pose. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. That's a slow lower. Inhale, cobra stretch, pull the shoulders down. Exhale, press back, very good. Downward dog or child's pose. Inhale, walking our feet up between our hands. Come up halfway to monkey. Softening those knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive, lift tall. Exhale, sweep, sitting into chair. Inhale, lift up tall. And exhale, release into mountain. So good. Let's step our right foot to the top of our mat and our left foot back into warrior one. Warrior one, you want to keep your hips and your shoulders facing forward. So imagine you've put little headlight stickers or flashlights on the front. They both have to face forward. Both feet are down on the ground, nice and flat. You can turn the back hip up just a little bit if you need to get that heel I want your heel pressing into the floor. Okay, pull the bellies in, really pull them in. Bend forward into that front knee, and then take your arms either right up above the head or down into heart center. Good, keep pressing the feet flat to the floor, pulling those shoulders down away from our ears, really zipping the belly up. Now I want you to notice if you feel any stretch through your left hip, anything from that back calf. This is a good leg stretch. Very good. Now let's take our hands down to our hips, straightening out both legs. Make sure you're happy with your stance. Sometimes we need to make it wider here. Forward fold. Hinge at your hips. Keep both hips and shoulders straight. And then hold your pyramid pose when you feel a stretch. So I start to feel a bit of a pull up my right hamstring right here. So I'm going to stop here. Keep the neck long, belly's in, shoulders pulling together. And as we hold pyramid, we might be able to get a little bit lower. And breathe into the stretch. Now I am going to offer some progressions. So for those of you who feel like this is the perfect place for you right now, you can stay here. If you'd like to work a little bit more coming up through balance, we're going to walk our hands forward into tripod. So we're now with our weight between both hands and on our right foot, and that left leg is coming back about parallel to the floor. You can stay in tripod, or if you want to take it just that next step, we make it into balanced half moon, flipping our left hip up and reaching the left arm up to the ceiling. We'll hold this for a couple more breaths, whatever version of it is that you're trying. You can always try it multiple times. Now we're all going to slowly reverse that, coming back into warrior one. Walk our hands up, keeping our legs in warrior one. So if you've, muddled your feet at all, that's okay. Just find warrior one with that right foot forward again. Good. The same side. Now we open up to warrior two. So everyone turn to the long edge of your mat. Have your heels running on that imaginary line. Bend forward into that right knee. Shoulders down. Belly so strong. And just make sure that that front knee is coming right back over the ankle. The kneecap is pointing the same direction as your toes. Let's do reverse warrior. Take that right hand, lift it all the way up. Keep bending into your right knee. Such a nice stretch for that right side of your body. Couple big breaths. Remember your breathing. Very good. Now come through warrior two. We're going to bend the other way. Bring your right elbow to your thigh, that left arm all the way up to the ceiling. Some people like to look forward. I like to look up to my hand, make sure I know where my arm is. We're going to deepen the stretch if you're able to. So if you're able to, we're going to turn side angle into triangle. Straighten out your right leg and your right arm. Okay, stay where you are. I'm just going to turn to the side. So if you need to see another version of that, from side angle, straighten that out, making a triangle. My top hand is 1 point and both feet are the second and third points. And you can connect the dots to make the triangle. It's a nice groin stretch right through the inner thigh of that right leg. Now slowly softening the knee, inhale, lift up, warrior two. Find your balance. Now waterfall all the way down. Step your foot back, find your plank, and then press back into down dog or child's pose. Couple big breaths. That was a big warrior series that we just did. Now you can hold your stretch, or you can join me. I'm going to go through our half flow series 2 times. Ready? We can inhale forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lifting up through cobra. Exhale, pressing back, down dog or child's pose. One more time. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, press back. Now all together, we'll walk our hands and feet to the top of our mat. Come halfway up to monkey. We stop halfway, check our posture. Now softening our knees, let's lift all the way up tall. And release. Very good. Now at this point, I'm going to offer another opportunity to take a quick drink before we repeat the warrior series on the left leg. So go ahead and grab a drink if you need to, otherwise standing tall. And we'll do that with our other leg forward. So for most of us, that will be our left side. Starting in mountain pose, really nice and tall. Couple big breaths. Okay, left foot at the top, right foot steps behind into warrior one. So again, I want feet flat on the floor, both hips and shoulders facing forward. Let's lift those arms up when we're ready. Really pull the belly in as we shift our weight forward into that front knee. And then shoulders, we want them just down away from those ears. If anyone finds that, maybe warrior one you think is boring, close your eyes and see if that changes anything. Couple big breaths here. Good, now let's slowly bring our hands down to our hips, preparing for pyramid. So we straighten out our legs, adjust your feet if you need them shorter or wider, and then hinge forward into that forward fold. Nice hamstring stretch. Nice flat back. Oh, I just felt that pull, so I'm gonna stay here, breathe into it, and then we use our breathing to help us lengthen our muscles. So maybe you move a lot. I tend to progress a lot with each breath, or maybe it's just a little. Maybe it's, millimeter by millimeter. Breathing into that left hamstring. And deciding if you'd like to stay here in our pyramid stretch, or if you'd like to join me progressing through those single leg balances. We can soften the knee and walk forward with both hands, coming down to the ground into that tripod position, right leg coming back parallel to the floor. The left leg is running perpendicular to the ground. You can stay here, or through balanced half moon, we flip the right hip to stack it on top of left, and then we can lift that right arm up to the ceiling. You may notice that the right side is much different from the left. Maybe it feels the same, maybe it feels different. Regardless of what position we're holding right now, we'll hold it for one more big inhale. And then as we exhale, we come into that warrior one position again, both feet flat on the floor in our lunge. If we're able to, we walk those hands all the way back up again. Take a few breaths, holding warrior one. Find our balance, happy with our footing. Very good. And let's open up into warrior two. So we turn to the long edge of your mat. Maybe your feet need to get bigger. Press away from your back right foot, but forward into the left knee. Again, let's make sure left kneecap is on top of heel and both knee and toe face forward. And the belly is pulled in so tight. We're holding warrior two legs, coming into reverse warrior. Take that left hand, lift it up all the way. I love this stretch, feels so good. I'm gonna actually bend more into my left knee. Coming through warrior two. Coming down into side angle. Make that beautiful 90-degree angle. Never leaning into the shoulder, always strong. You can look up to your right hand if you'd like. Keep bending into that left leg. Stay where you are. I'm just gonna turn to the side so you can see. And warrior two, down into side angle. And then if we'd like it, for those of us interested in triangle, straighten out your leg, straighten out your arm. So you're drawing a straight line from fingertips through shoulders up to fingertips. Couple big breaths. This is a big stretch, again, for those inner thighs, especially. Softening the knee, inhale, lift up. Good, now let's come into that waterfall, slow waterfall. Lunge position. Pick it up back into plank. Push back into down dog or child's pose. Again, we can stay in our stretch or we can come into our flow. Inhaling forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, press back, down dog or child. One more, inhale forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, press back. Now from here, we're coming into our pigeon pose. So we'll start by taking that right foot high to the sky, three-legged dog. You can have it straight or bent. We draw the knee into the chest. Take the foot towards your left hand, the knee towards your right hand, and then we press that leg back as far as it'll go and look over your left shoulder to make sure that the leg is in fact straight. It hasn't wandered. Now, something we don't always do, but I think it's a good idea every now and then, let's try to take our hands up off the ground to make sure that we're actually balanced right between hips. Good. From there, we can take the hands to the floor, maybe the elbows, or we can even lay all the way down. Slow, deep breaths as we breathe into our right hip. Again, try not to twist or tilt. Sometimes we lean on one leg or hip. Try to stay right in the center and slowly breathe. And we slowly come out of that, pressing back into down dog or child's pose. As gracefully as you can. In yoga, we try to really work on minimizing how many extra movements we need, but some days we just need a couple extra steps. So please don't judge yourself harshly. However, I do want to remind everyone, we try to work on all those in-between transitions too. Now getting ready for pigeon on the other side, we lift the left foot up nice and high. There's your three-legged dog. Draw the knee into plank. Foot towards your right hand, knee towards your left hand. We're trying to make a perpendicular line to that back right leg. Now that's, I said try, not mandatory. People, we all look very different here. We bring our hands up to make sure that we're not leaning. We want to be very much straight lines here. And then we work down hands or elbows or all the way low. And then we slow down our breathing. Pigeon is one of my favorite poses in terms of immediate feedback. What that means is while we're holding the stretch, we feel what it's doing. We feel that stretch through our hip, through our thigh. There are some poses that we do and we feel it more later in the terms of longer backs, stretched out leg muscles, deeper breathing. I find this pigeon pose is one of the poses that we do, in fact, really feel it while we're doing it. Now slowly, let's come all the way back into down dog or child's pose. See if your down dog or child's pose has gone longer or straighter. Maybe your heels have gone lower to the floor. We're going to be coming onto our stomach next. So slowly work into plank. You can take your knees to the floor, leave them raised as we find that chaturanga, slow lower. Relax your feet, and then take your head down to the ground. You can lay on one ear, and then we can bring our arms down by our side as well. Just relax those shoulders. You can even relax your feet a little bit if you want to let your heels fall out, your toes fall in. Couple breaths as we're down here. Preparing for bow pose. Bow pose is going to stretch our thigh muscles, the front of our legs. And I'll cue it for both half and full. So what that means is let's all start by taking our hands directly underneath our shoulders. kind of like we're getting ready for cobra. Now, if you're going to do half bow, you'll take just one hand to your ankle, and it's the same hand as foot. So if you've got your left hand, you're going to hold your left foot. If you'd like to do full bow, you take both hands and both feet. And then just make sure that your legs haven't separated. We want to try to keep them as close together as possible. Notice any pull in the shoulders. So I want you to start to roll those shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades. And then if you're able to grab your feet like this, see if you can flex them. That's going to help as we lift the chest, press the feet up towards the sky, keep those knees pulling in, keep the shoulder blades squeezing. Now, if you're doing just one, go ahead and switch and do the other side now. The rest of us, we're going to keep holding, keep pressing those feet up towards the ceiling, pull those shoulders back. It's an amazing chest and shoulder stretch, but really stretching out those thighs. Now all together, take one more big inhale. Exhale, slowly relax, and let's lay on our other ear or other cheek. Really relax those shoulders. Again, you can have toes in and heels out if that helps you relax. Now slowly taking both hands underneath our shoulders, straighten out our legs and press up into cobra. Big cobra stretch. This will be our last cobra. See if we can really lift those hips up off the ground. And we'll press back into child's pose. Oh, big stretch for the back. Sink those hips low, sweep those arms forward, and drop the head. And slowly lifting up through table so that we can sit onto our bum, reaching our legs out straight in front of us. From here, we're going to take our straddle position sitting. So we walk those legs out as wide as they'll go without forcing it, right? We don't want to force our legs. So maybe they're quite short and shallow today, or maybe they're nice and wide. Doesn't matter. As long as your heels are on the ground and your toes are pointing straight up to the ceiling. Both sides of our bum are also on the floor. Sitting up so tall, let's reach those arms out into that T again, right up to the side. Take the right knuckles, graze the inside of your leg. Take the left hand, there we go. And then lift the hand all the way up. Notice where it is, so don't collapse. We don't like this posture, so we're never gonna practice it. Always open. Oh, and it feels so much better. Good. So we always want to rehearse or practice the posture that we expect or hope to do throughout the day or throughout our other activities. Now let's do big inhale. All right, left knuckles, exhale. Open up that shoulder. Good. Now I'm feeling it actually through that right side of my back. I don't know where everyone else is feeling it, but just check in. Where do you feel the sensation? Usually a good indication of maybe what you need to pay attention to today or for the next couple of days. Give an extra little bit of love. Inhale, lift up. And now last, groin or inner thigh stretch. Hands come in front. Keep your heels on the ground, toes to the ceiling. You can bend your knees a little bit if we need to. We're going to go for a walk. Maybe it's a short walk, maybe it's a long walk. When you feel that stretch, I want you to hold it. Slowly walk back in. Now take your time getting out of this. I like to kind of shake my legs back in front of me. And then we'll come into our seated spinal twist. So go ahead and draw the right foot up. You can have the foot on the inside. I like to bring mine to the outside. Both sides of hips on the ground, knee points straight up to the ceiling. And then any of the slouching positioning that we just took, let's all puff the chest, roll the shoulders down, draw that left arm across, Really pull. See how I'm trying to pull that shoulder back behind? And then turn our nose so we're looking over that right side. I like to squeeze that leg a little bit to get a little bit more stretch out of the hip, and then really puff the chest, trying to encourage some upper back stretching as well. Coming through the middle and lower down. Good. Let's take that left side, whether the foot's on the ground or across, both sides of the bum down, knee points straight up. Go ahead and give it a hug. If that shoulder pulled forward, pull it back, puff the chest as we look over. Ooh, there's my shoulder stretch over that left side. So whereas on the right leg, I personally felt it more in my hip, with this left leg, I'm feeling it more in my right shoulder. So we don't always feel things the same, right side and left side. So it's good to keep an open mind about that. Coming through the middle, ooh, release that. And I think because I just felt all that shoulder stuff, I'd like to do one extra stretch for the shoulders. So we'll take our hands, interlace them in front of us, and now pull the belly in, tuck the chin, and reach forward. Now, big breath, lift all the way up. See if we can get those arms all the way up. And now push your hands to the ceiling. Look up to your hands. And then just release your arms. Oh, amazing. At this point, we're going to come down to the floor for final relaxation, as promised. I'm actually gonna put my socks on because I'm feeling a bit chilly now that we've slowed down. If you have a blanket or a sweater that you'd like to put on, please do so as we come all the way down to the mat so that we can finish our practice in Shavasana just like we started. Very, very full circle. Now getting ourselves into that comfortable position. If there's anything you notice, maybe you need to stretch out in order to feel comfortable, that's fine. You can go through those last few movements so that we can really set ourselves up for an enjoyable final relaxation. Now, as we find ourselves laying with stillness, we're calm, we're both heavy on our mat and light in sense of feeling. We're not bogged down with stress or worry. This is that gift that we give to ourselves. Taking time out of our day to go through our yoga practice, focusing on checking in with our body. What feels good? What's maybe a bit tight, a little bit sore? It's like getting an x-ray and then having that information. We now know how we're feeling. Same with our breathing. Practicing those deep breaths, which is a form of mindfulness. We know that mindfulness helps clear out all of the extra stuff going on through our brain, helps us focus, helps us relax. And sometimes too, if we're feeling really wound up, really anxious about anything, spending just these couple of moments at the beginning and end of practice, and even during when we're really focused on our breathing, holding a pose, it helps us unwind, relieve some of those burdens. Noticing if our breathing can come a little bit slower, maybe a little bit deeper. If we're scrunching our eyebrows or clenching our jaw, see if we can release that, have softer facial features. Starting to slowly wiggle through our fingers and our toes, rolling through those wrists and ankles. We're checking back in with our body, back in with the space that we're practicing in. And I'll invite everyone to gather the legs into the chest. Let's give ourselves another big hug. We can rock right to left, side to side. Notice how we're feeling. And then from our knees to chest, I want us to roll over onto our side into baby pose, the fetal position. You can lay on your arm. You can stay quite small. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Just very relaxed. Close our eyes. Nothing to do, nowhere to be. Nice deep breaths. Taking that last inhale. And on our exhale, we can slowly start to press ourselves up into a seated position. Maybe flutter those eyelashes open as we do so. Taking our time, sitting in a comfortable seated position, whether it's easy seated, crisscross applesauce, maybe half lotus with one foot on top. My hips feel a little bit tight still, so I think I'll stay with half lotus, but if anyone wants to bring the other foot on top, you could do full lotus. We'll sit up so tall with our hands resting on top of the legs or the feet. Roll those shoulders down as if I've got just a hold of all of your little hairs right on the top of your head. I'm just pulling them up a little bit higher. Good. Let's take that final goodbye. Inhale, hands all the way up above head to prayer. Exhaling down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.